Hey guys, welcome to Restoration Mastery TV. Today we're talking to you all about social media.
Boom.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Restoration Mastery TV.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Today we are getting a little bit social. We are sending you a friend request. We're poking you, we're tweeting you.
What?
We are liking you on Instagram,
Right
my
on,
friends. We have gotten a lot of questions about social media. You know, these things go out over Facebook, these videos,
Yeah.
YouTube. So we're obviously all on social media. And so people have been asking us about social media marketing for disaster restoration and whether or not we think it's a good idea. And if it is, how to accomplish it.
Right.
So let's talk about it.
Yeah. So really quick, Tim, I'll jump in. Some of the questions we get are, how can we utilize social media to get us a return on investment? I know as a CEO, like that's the biggest question. And years ago, it was a mystery. Like, how do you get a return? You know, is it just that you have to be on just to have a presence? But now things have changed. Things have changed dramatically. So let's talk about that. Like, let's talk about, you know, what kind of return on investment can a salesperson and or a CEO expect to get off Facebook, and how do you do it? Like, what's the first thing that we have to do?
So when we talk about return on investment for social media, I think that sometimes we have a little bit of a flawed thinking in that regard. Let me explain why. What's the return on investment on being honest? What's the return on investment on doing good business? It's impossible to really measure those things. And for social media, one of the challenges is that it's not always easy to measure the impact of social media. Because when it comes to restoration companies, our goal is not going to be, let's find the end user who has just had a flood or a fire.
Right.
And let me explain why that is. Rarely, and you could imagine, let's say your house just burnt down. You grab your wife and your kids, or maybe just your kids, depending on how your marriage is. You grab everybody and you get out of the house, right? And once you get on the street, chances are you don't open up Facebook and look for fire restoration companies.
Absolutely not.
There is, maybe some advantage to having some search engine optimization in the flood side of the business.
Yeah.
Because people do often, they'll Google flood restoration or, I have a flood, what do I do type of things. But as far as social media is concerned, you're not going to be targeting your end user very often.
That's correct. Now, really quick, Tim and I both have examples as to how, through our Facebook marketing or just having a presence on Facebook, we actually got claims. But that's not, like Tim is saying, that's not your target. The end user is not the target. And so, one time I had a friend call me up and she says, "Hey OP, my other friend that I know on Facebook, she just posted that she just had a flood. I just spoke to her, she needs your help." And we ended up getting a $20,000 water loss. That is great, but that's not the routine. That's not what you can expect through Facebook marketing. What we're talking about is really identifying who your target audience is.
Yeah,
right?
there's no way to duplicate that result with effective social media marketing.
Right.
That's just doing a good job and getting a referral.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the way we operate today, in so much that we don't get referrals in the old way where people are sitting around at the tennis club discussing vendors. They post on Facebook, "I have a flood, what do I do?" And somebody else will comment. I got one. We also got one recently off of Twitter that was another like $15,000, $20,000 job. But the reason that we came across it is because we're both fans of the same hockey team.
Yeah.
And I saw her commenting that she had a flood in her house, and I said, "Hey, that's what I do, hit me up." And so that was just lucky, and me talking crap about hockey on the internet and happening to come across a good tweet. So that's not what we're going to talk to you about today. What we really think that social media is an incredible opportunity for you as a disaster restoration vendor is being able to target your ideal referral source.
Yeah.
And when we say referral source, we're talking property managers, we're
plumbers,
talking,
agents,
real estate,
Yeah.
whatever your target demographic is for referring you business. And maybe it's adjusters as well, or sometimes it's even third-party administrator companies like Contractor Connection or someone else.
Yeah.
A lot of the times, getting in front of people like that is impossible. So an adjuster or a company like Contractor Connection, those vendors have people calling them every 15 minutes to the point where they're going to send you to voicemail. And what are you going to say on that voicemail? Let me tell you what that call always sounds like. Hi, this is John, and I do really good work in Washington, D.C., and I think you should let me serve your customers. And Mr. Program Vendor is thinking, I just got that same phone call 85 times today. I'm not going to return that call.
Yeah.
But let me tell you where you could be different. If you can appear in John's Facebook feed with some kind of valuable content, all of a sudden you are standing out and you are looking legitimate.
And let's talk about the psychology of when people actually scroll through their Facebook. Think about when the person that you're targeting gets these 85 phone calls like Tim said. Think about what they're thinking of. They're stressed out. They're going through their workday. They don't necessarily want to hear from you. They don't. But if you can strategically be targeting them, and then as they're swiping at lunchtime or break time or dinner time or whatever it is, they swipe, they're looking around going, oh shoot, here's John in Washington, D.C., and he's actually adding some value to us in the industry. His mindset is completely different. He's not sitting here having to do it. He's doing it because he wants to. And as you show up, it's a different psychology of how he feels about what he's looking at. Just think about that by itself. Just by itself, it allows you to target the person much more effectively.
And not only does it target them more effectively, but if you really consider it, you appear incredibly professional when you appear in that manner. We recently got a call from a vendor program that had seen our work on Facebook. And this is a hilarious story. We at Allied Restoration, in our restoration company, we don't invest a ton of money in marketing. We don't do big events. We don't believe in, large cookie budgets or large, what are the promotional materials. We don't invest in a lot of that stuff because we haven't really seen a return on investment in that. So we just put out good content, and we put out, we maintain top of mind awareness through other means like social media that we're going to talk about today.
Yeah.
And this company called us and said one of their biggest concerns with using a company like ours was our large marketing budget. And we all laughed, because we do not have a significant marketing budget. We just do good work, and we put out great content on the fly inexpensively. You do not have to spend a ton of money to look like a company that's spending a ton of money.
And let's talk about what she said. Her concern of our spending resulted in her thinking what?
She thought companies that spend a lot of money on marketing must have to offset those costs by charging more on their estimates.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy when the reality is like, guys, this is not a magic trick, okay? We have iPhones. That's all that we use, okay? And then we invest our time in putting out this content. But when you think about it, we know companies that are spending tens and tens of thousands of dollars on one evening.
Yeah.
On one evening, right? And here we're being criticized for having this huge marketing budget, and now because of everything that we do, and we're on camera, and we're on Facebook, and we're on YouTube, that we must be spending a lot of money, and therefore we must charge a lot of money. That's false. So going back to the basics here as to how you could utilize social media to benefit you, we talk about TOMA, which stands for Top of Mind Awareness. Top of mind awareness is going to be the key factor for you as a marketing person or even as a CEO, is to make sure that in people's feeds, whether it's LinkedIn, whether it's Twitter, whether it's Facebook, that you continue to have this top of mind awareness. Placing an ad on Facebook once or twice is not going to get you to be effective. You're not going to see a return. But to continually have a presence on Facebook and adding value can really give you a return on your investment.
Absolutely. So at the end of this episode, we're going to give you a link to a webinar we're going to be hosting here in the very near future. about social media. We're going to tell you the outline of steps you should be looking at for a good social media plan for a restoration company. I'm going to give you 4 steps today, and then in the webinar we'll kind of break down more in depth if you want to get an understanding of how those steps are actually accomplished.
Yeah.
But I will say that if you get nothing else out of this episode, I will tell you that a company that spends $10,000 or $50,000 on a marketing event, spending top dollar money for top dollar alcohol, is providing their clients less value than free articles that I can put out on a daily basis. Here are the 4 steps that we look at when developing a social media plan with our clients at Restoration Mastery. This is what we tell them to do. The first thing is identify your target referral source. Have a really defined market. We always will recommend starting with one type of referral source at a time, because typically if you do 2 or 3, you end up as a jack of all trades and a master of none. You want to be known as the restoration company that takes care of plumbers, adjusters, property managers, real estate companies, whatever it is. Get a really good reputation in your target demographic. That's step 1, identify your target.
Yeah, and one of the quickest ways to figure out where do you go, if you have a few different people you can go to or different revenue sources you can go to, is identify who is the biggest profit source for you. Let's just keep it real simple. Mm-hmm. Where is your biggest opportunity for profit, and go there first.
Yeah, and that would be based on your market, like where you are in the world. Are there more property managers? Is there more commercial? Are there hospitals? Are there stadiums? What do you have in your backyard that looks like a good opportunity?
Right.
The second thing is to either get a list of individuals that work in this field through a trade organization or some other source, or be able to target them by the interest that they hold. For example, on Facebook, when you set up an ad to target these people, and Facebook ads, in case you've never run one, you can run them for $5 to $10. We're not talking about huge ad budgets here.
Yeah.
When you know what their interests are, you can target. So for example, if you're targeting realtors and there's a local real estate association, you can target everyone that likes that real estate association. However, if you can get an email list, you can create what we call a lookalike audience. And we'll go over that in the webinar, but if you can get an email list, that will allow you to really target these people on Facebook, which is an incredible opportunity. The third thing you're going to need to do is you're going to have to start producing relevant content for these individuals. This is a new world that we find ourselves in today, and if you want to market to people, it's no longer about just creating commercials, buying billboards. It's about producing relevant content. You have to be a content creator today, no matter what business you're in.
Right.
So for example, if I wanted to target attorneys, the first thing I would do is I would start up a blog all about concerns that lawyers have. It would be about, hey, this is the number one thing that lawyers are fearing right now. And I would write an article, nothing to do with restoration. It's about my client. I have to serve them, so I'm going to produce content that is highly relevant to them so I can maintain top of mind awareness. I try to stay so close to my clients that even if they need a restaurant recommendation on a Friday night, I'm the first name that comes to their mind. If they roll over in the middle of the night and they're trying to think about what kind of toilet paper they should buy, I want them to make that phone call to me. I want to be the one stop that they think about for absolutely every single concern that exists within their world. And the more that you can do that, the more that you will become invaluable to your clients. And when Susie's service pro walks in with a bag of donuts, they say, thank you for the donuts, but I got a guy and he ain't you.
And being resourceful is going to be something that you have to keen in on, because as the economy continues to change, having resources is one thing, but being resourceful, that's magic. Because now, even if you don't have the answer, you go and find the answer. And going back to what Tim is sharing, is like, if you're going to target attorneys, in addition to adding value to what they're concerned about, you can also add value. We know someone who actually targeted attorneys, and their blog was about golf.
Yeah.
Right? Their blog was about golf because they know that attorneys also love golf, and so he was giving an educational piece about golf. At the same time, he's in there and he's the expert at what he's doing, what he's selling. So it's about adding value in a variety of ways. Be more open to identifying how you can get into either what their needs are or their interests are. Figure out ways to get in there.
Absolutely. And if those interests keen in on a special expertise that you have, even better.
Yeah.
So the fourth step is going to be continuing to drip with this content. This is
Drip.
not drip.
Drip.
This is not, you got to drip on them over and over and over. This is not a one and done type of deal. I'm going to write five articles and just wait for the money to roll in. This is something you're going to have to commit to doing every single week. Content creation is not easy. It's also not something that you have to do yourself. This is something that we help with clients. We'll go over that and more in the webinar.
Yeah. And I would say, as we close, Tim, if you have been mystified by how people are making money on Facebook or how companies are getting a return on investment on Facebook, you've got to be involved in the webinar. Tim and I are going to go over probably 45 minutes worth of walk you through step by step on what to do, and actually we're going to be showing you on Facebook how we actually place ads and how we actually create that target audience that we want. It's not as difficult as you may think. However, if you go on there yourself, you're going to stumble through it and you might get frustrated. Save the date. It's going to be in about a month or so. You're going to want to attend, jump in, and be a part of that group.
Absolutely. So until next time, guys, live with passion. Like us on Facebook if you haven't already.
Peace.